One thing to note here, actually, about Gerry's sideboard, and we said this when we were actually looking over it last round, but 3 copies of Hollowed Moonlight. It's almost like he's gunning for Tickal here.
Well, if you've got a multicolor deck that's a little bit slow and has no counter spells, your matchup against Rally game 1 is probably not very good.
Yeah.
So not surprising to see Thompson make some real effort here to improve the matchup, but 3 Hollowed Moonlights is a lot by anyone's standards.
Tickal on the play this game. He started with the Polluted Delta. He's going to play a Flooded Strand, pass the turn back. For Thompson, he started off with the dreaded Nomad Outpost.
Yep. That was my one critique of his deck when he came over and showed it to me.
Not a fan, huh?
I said your deck can't possibly be good if it has this card in it, which is obviously hyperbole and exaggeration and all that. And it's a necessary card for him to fix his mana, et cetera, et cetera. Just a fun card to make fun of.
It is.
I'm not Mardu guy. Never been Mardu guy. Never will be Mardu guy.
Gerry playing the role of Mardu guy a bit here this weekend.
I'm a Zergo guy, and you could talk me into being a Dig Through Time guy, but I'll never be a Crackling Doom guy.
Well, Gerry resolving a duress. He's going to take Collected Company. For Tickal, he's going to search up a couple of lands here. His hand is Rally the Ancestor, Tantuco Husk, Den Protector, another Collected Company, and a Windswept Heath. Thompson going to sacrifice his Bloodstained Mire as well. And this has got to make you happy, all the shortcutting that's taking place here. Look at this.
These are professionals. Time is going to be an issue. They don't need to really bluff anything. Just shortcut through this part. Save some time. Save yourselves some time. Save us some time.
Save everybody at home some time.
Exactly.
It's win, win, win.
Yeah. You add up all the seconds that get saved and all the people impacted by those seconds saved, you start talking about some hours, some days even, of saved human time. The only finite resource we know of.
We're going to get that on a shirt soon.
Yeah. Save some time.
That's Wooded Foothills. This is a roast. Get that Jace out of here. Pass the turn back over to Tickal, Will Thompson. Tickal with land at number 4. Wooded Foothills. And he does have a Collected Company in hand at the ready. Thompson going to sacrifice his Wooded Foothills. We'll see what land he wants to search up. This deck that Tickal's playing, I think, probably the best Collected Company deck in the format. It's a doozy.
Very powerful, and it can win even without the combo pieces. Collected Company just gives it a lot of staying power.
Thompson will draw. A Windswept Heath. And now there's a Rhino. That'll give him the clock he's looking for. We'll see if it lines up well against Tickal's Collected Company here and what he's able to reveal from it. He's going to sacrifice a couple of fetch lands. So Tickal down to 13, going to consult the grip to make sure he can cast all of his spells. Of course, wanting to get a second white mana at some point for the rally. Looks like he's thinking basic forest and then maybe a battle land to go along with it, or he's thinking maybe 2 basics.
Yeah, it's a freebie for him to get a battle land here as he's getting his second basic, but if there's no compelling needs for a particular dual land, he may want to leave them in the deck so future fetch lands have more flexibility. Blah, 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 blah.
Well, that'll answer that question.
Yeah,
a couple of basics.
There you go. There you go.
What do you think? Do you think blah, blah, blah would sell well on a shirt? Tough to say.
All right.
Here's a Collected Company. Top 6 cards. How'd Tickal do? It's a Grim Horror Specs, and Sidisi's Faithful. Sidisi's Faithful trigger. It exploits, sacrifice itself, bounce Siege Rhino, draw a card because of the Horror Specs. Not bad.
Repulse is a pretty sweet Magic card. And
I know you're a fan.
Repulse and then some.
Yeah. There's a Flooded Strand. Gotta remember, Tickal's been playing this sort of strategy since June.
Yeah. I mean, he's taken some time definitely searching out his lands here, although that process is quite complicated. But in terms of the interaction, choosing his various lines of play, he's been smooth playing the deck. You can tell there's a lot of reps here.
It's a morph. That's a Den Protector, as we know. And now it comes across the Horror Specs. Thompson will draw. Looks like Fire Impulse is what he's picked up.
But you're starting to see the problems in the matchup here. It seems very likely that what's happening in this game is Thompson's just getting nickel and dimed either in terms of card advantage or life total, piece by piece, turn after turn, and eventually he's not going to have an answer for rally. And the longer this game goes on for, the more likely that the rally just yields a kill on the spot or close to it.
Well, we know Thompson has Siege Rhino in his hand as he cast that last turn, but then it got bounced. Now, does he want to just spend all of his money, all of his mana casting that? That's the question. The answer is yes. Den Protector going to un-Megamorph. Eclectic Company back to the grip.
And that's an interesting play here from Tickal. He could have just gotten back the Sidisi's Faithful, unsummoned, drew another card, ate up the whole turn. But what his plan appears to be is just accumulate enough raw resources where rally kills Thompson.
Top six, couple Zillipore Cutthroats in there. He's going to do the Faithful thing again. So Zillipore Cutthroat's going to trigger. Export there on the Faithful. Draw a card from the Horror Specs. Not a bad Collected Company. Tickal going to draw. Eventually, there we go. Liliana. And there's an island. Here's a Jace. Here come the beatdowns. Now what's next? Thompson is stuck on 4 mana still. He'll go with Duress. Rally down, Liliana and Nantuko Husk left over. But with that Jace over there,
yeah,
doesn't matter too much.
And if you kill the Jace, then you get drained for 1, that's a card.
Oh, Horseback's down, he'll get drained for 1. Fire Impulse, Jace down, drained for 1. Well, this is making up a little bit of ground.
It's a very solid turn there for Thompson. I mean, He's still behind by quite a bit, but it's looking like the game could get to a spot where Siege Rhino, maybe another removal spell, could start the process of stabilization. I am doubtful. But
as am I.
That was about as good of a turn as Thompson could have asked for.
Here's Liliana. And now here come the beatdowns. We'll head back over to Thompson. He'll draw another copy of Siege Rhino. I think his hand might be forced to just cast one of these now. But what's so interesting about this deck is the Planeswalkers make it so that if Tickal loses cards in his graveyard, he has weird roundabout ways to getting it back. So, for example, Liliana here, well, yeah, it's out there right now. Tickal has a Husk in hand. He can sacrifice a creature, flip Liliana, bring back Jace, and then Jace can bring back the Rally.
Yeah.
You can go through these kind of weird loopholes to be able to continuously cast your spells. In this instance, it's a Horror Specs and an Nantuko Husk. So now things get even better here for Tickal.
I think at this point, Tickal probably just needs to hang tight. If he wants to sacrifice something to Liliana, to Husk to draw a card and get something flipped, that's fine, but I don't think there's much progress to be made via attacks this turn.
I was going to sacrifice the Cutthroat. That's going to flip Liliana, bring a zombie along with it. And now we see what comes after that. Horror Spec's going to allow him to draw a card. Now both players will discard, but excuse me, he's going to bring back the Faithful. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And now here come the beatdowns with whatever's eligible to attack, which is just Den Protector.
And now Tickal has 2 more turns of unsummoned rolled up.
Yep.
Plus draw a card. So he's assembled his own Jace the Mind Sculptor on top of all the other things that are going on right now.
And this is when people talk about just how powerful this deck can be. Yeah, it's called 4-color Rally, but it doesn't always need Rally to win.
Yeah. Often it's just the last piece of the puzzle after having worn your opponent down for many turns in a row.
Thompson going to search up a basic mountain there with the Bloodstain Mire. He falls down to 5. Tickal currently at 10. Crackling Doom. Den Protector down, same with Liliana. Thompson maybe trying to hope that Tickal doesn't go for the win here with the husk. To be fair, he is at 5, so I don't think Tickal has to do much of anything.
Yeah, I don't mind putting Cutthroat into play as insurance,
Yeah.
but it's pretty straightforward.
Here come the Knuckleheads, and that is going to do it. Matthew Tickal's going to win game number 1 here over Gerry Thompson. 4-color rally up a game here over Obzon Red, which means we get to turn our attention to the sideboard, and we are going to start with Gerry Thompson's sideboard. And as we mentioned right at the top, and we saw it last round too, 3 Hallowed Moonlight, you got to believe, are coming in. There's also 3 Arshan Clerics, 2 Radiant Flames, a bunch of one-ups here in Duress, Ob Nixilis Reignited, Dark Petition, Virulent Plague, Utter End, Read the Bones, and an Infinite Obliteration. But those Hallowed Moonlights, you have to imagine that's what they're here for.
Yeah, I like Duress, Read the Bones, the Radiant Flames, the Hallowed Moonlights, the Utter End, all excellent cards here for Thompson. And the Infinite Obliteration, I guess, could possibly come in. I still don't know how I feel about the card in the matchup. I haven't really seen it. I could see arguments for and against, and maybe it comes in, maybe it doesn't.
Other side of things here for Tickal, 2 Felidar Cubs, 3 Duress, a Dispel, 3 on Defense of the Foremost, a Merciless Executioner, a Fleshbag Marauder, 3 Deathmiss Raptors, and a Minister of Pain.
I think we're going to see the Merciless Executioner, Fleshbag Marauder stuff come in alongside the 3 copies of Duress. Little hand disruption, and Thompson doesn't have a whole lot of creatures, and most of them are valuable, they're expensive, so the Edict effects here are very good.
Well, there are your options there for both players. Gerry Thompson will be on the play. In the meantime, you see he's wearing some pins. We are too this weekend. That's because of Game Night, everybody, the very popular promotion in December. Got some time left to get that reindeer.
Yeah, you can head over to StarCityGames.com/Game Night for more information on this. Store sign up for Game Night. We send out these kits every month. Players compete in these events to win these pins and tokens. Stores have a lot of flexibility to run Game Night any day of the week. Any format, just get players in the store for some fun and friendly magic. This is what you're playing for right now, the December kit. January coming down the pipeline. You see the Grizzly Brandon just announced our February kit here. Magus of the Moo. StarCityGames.com/Game Night for more information. Contact your Star City Games in-store play representative. Get this program set up. If you live in Canada and have not gotten Game Night to your store because of the cost of shipping the kits out, good news, we're just charging U.S. domestic. So again, contact your in-store play representative. Bring Game Night to your local store.
Ah, Magus of the Moo. Look at him. Just ready to give beatdowns.
Could be.
Look at her.
Could be a her.
Yeah.
I don't know how to identify gender on minotaurs and cows and such.
Someone out there knows.
But it could be gender neutral, whatever. Anyhow, this is the February kit announced today.
I'm looking forward to March now because I don't know what's coming anymore. It's all a surprise to me, much like it is to you. So I didn't know Magus the Moo was coming. Great.
I did not.
Great. Already Grizzly Brand, I'm not even impressed anymore. I'm a big Magus fan now. And March is my birthday month, so we better have something really good for March.
March is your birthday month?
Yeah.
You're not old enough, or sorry, excuse me, you're too old to now have a birthday month.
What does that mean?
You barely have a birthday anymore, and you certainly don't have a birth month.
Well, I get to decide that. That's not up for you to decide.
That's something that a 5-year-old has. Like October was a big deal when we got to October because my birthday was approaching. It's not the case anymore now that I'm a million years old.
So I just don't get to have any fun because you don't get to have any fun.
No.
That's how this works.
That's what being an adult is. You don't have a birthday month anymore.
Well, I'm just going to have a birthday year now.
March is my birthday month.
Wow. I turned 30 in March. I'm taking the whole month.
Okay.
Okay, you can't stop me. Thompson starting things off with a Shambling Vent while Patrick is trying to spoil my fun. A Wooded Foothills, no pass a turn back.
We're quickly approaching your birthday season.
Yeah, it's correct.
Spring is right around the corner.
That is correct, actually. I can't wait. The leaves are blooming. It'll be beautiful. Here's a Zilliport Cutthroat. We'll see what land Tickal wants to search up, and Thompson doing the same. A lot of fetching, of course, in this format. Fetch land plus battle lands promotes that kind of activity. Sounds like you didn't have very much fun with your birthdays. I think that's where this comes from.
Well, I didn't, but I don't regret that. That's fine. It's set the stage in the right place to transition to adulthood, where your birthday just does not matter anymore. When you turn 21, that matters. When you turn 30, that sort of matters. And then after that, it's who even cares?
It's all downhill from there,
right?
As a famous band once said. Bloodstained Meyer's going to search up something, and now Thompson's got a morph here. It'll be a mountain. Tickal has got a fetch land as well, and he'll play a morph. I don't like that Cutthroat's coming into the red zone, though.
Hanging
I
back.
think that's going to hang steady. Basic Plains weapon of choice here for Matthew. We'll see what Thompson wants to do in his 4th turn of the game. Morphs here for Gerry in his deck, Den Protector. That's what that is. Not a lot of Death Mist Raptors running around at Abzan anymore.
Although Tickal might have brought him in out of his sideboard for
Potentially.
this matchup. And, you know, post-board, if you think it's going to be harder to execute the combo against most of the opponents, Death Mist Raptor is a nice middle ground. Still synergizes with plenty of stuff you got going on, but also is just a fine card to draw and cast.
It was an attack there from Thompson with his morph and a very quick block there from Tickal. Tickal, his morph was Death Mist Raptor. This is a swamp. Tickal may have missed the trigger. We will see.
This is one of those weird spots where, you know, a game action didn't necessarily take place, but there is sort of this implied statute of limitations for how long you have to announce a trigger.
Yeah. Here's the Siege Rhino. That trigger announced very quickly. Collected Company in the draw here for Matthew. That's a Prairie Stream. Here's another morph. Pass the turn back. Thompson will draw. At least has a Cinder Glade in hand, the basics to make it work. There is the Glade. Here comes the Rhino. Horspec's going to unmorph, bring on back the Death Mist Raptor.
Just another excruciating trade for Thompson here, potentially.
Pretty much. Yep, that's on the stack. Hallowed Moonlights going to make an appearance here. No Death Mist Raptor for you, Matthew. And he even gets a draw card. If a creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, exile it instead. And now a morph. So this is interesting because does the Death Mist Raptor get exiled or not? Because I believe it's a you may bring it back when something unmorphs.
Yeah, and if it's a may, then Thompson has to do it in response to the trigger, and then Tickal can simply say, no thanks.
No, thank you, yeah. So Tickal clear. And now Matthew will pass the turn back. Remember, Thompson kind of gunning for this matchup this weekend. 4-color rally has been pretty popular recently. He's been putting up very solid results. And as a result, Thompson has 3 copies of Hallowed Moonlight in his sideboard. And he can cast that multiple times, Den Protector, stuff like that.
I don't think his game 1 is very good.
I don't think so either.
He's definitely making efforts to clean it up post-board. And this rally deck does not do a whole lot when the various engines get shut off.
Yep. Siege Rhino does come across. Tickal gonna sacrifice his Flooded Strand, cast a Collected Company. Thompson gonna un-Megamorph Den Protector. He'll get back Hallowed Moonlight, I imagine, and recast that. That appears to be the plan. That means Collected Company, no good. Thompson will draw a card from it. I believe Read the Bones was the draw. So Tickal gets to take a look at the top 6 cards. He's not going to be doing much of anything with them because of the Hallowed Moonlight.
And you can see these Hollow Moonlights have really cut Tickle's legs out from under him.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not even a graveyard to speak of on his side of the table. Rally's not even a card right now.
And those are going to be exiled. So Tickal potentially selecting cards there because he wants them to be exiled from his deck.
Right.
Because he could search and just not find anything. It says you can put up 2.
And his deck shuffles plenty, so he's doing a little bit of thinning right now.
That'll be a Canopy Vista. Pass the turn back. Thompson will draw. Found that Nomad Outpost. What comes next? Read the bones. In response, it'll be Collected Company. This one is good to go. So Tickal going to take a look at the top 6. There's a Fleshbag Marauder, and there are 2 Jaces as well.
This is a pretty good path here for Tickal. You can get a creature off the table, potentially. And if the Jace sticks, he can flash back to Collected Company, try to generate some resources here.
Well, with Fleshbag Marauder on the stack, Thompson appears as though he may have a response here. Murderous Cut going to take care of Horsebacks. Zillipore Cutthroat trigger. Matthew will gain a life, Gerry will lose 1. Now Fleshbag's got to resolve. Down goes Den Protector. Cutthroat triggers. Now the Bones resolves. Take a look at the first couple. Infinite Obliteration in those cards.
I wasn't sure if that was coming in, but it looks like it has.
Looks like Thompson's considering moving both of these cards to the bottom. Bottoms up. Chris Anderson walking with the match slip right now. He'll move on to 5-0 with that victory. So congratulations to him. As now here comes the Rhino. This is a swamp and a duress, and a timely duress. This is taking Collected Company. And now that's the Soulfire Grandmaster pass the turn back, but Tickal does have an active Jace.
Yes, and a lot of good spells in the graveyard here. Various copies of Collected Company to get back.
First things first, it'll be a Jace activation here from Tickal. He'll draw. Looks like he picked up a copy of Murderous Cut.
Well, Murderous Cut is a huge draw here, as Tickal can simply clear out Thompson's 2 creatures. Cut once, flashback, cut again. You have a Jace left over.
That's not so bad. There goes Liliana.
I'm gonna say Collected Company was looking pretty juicy here, but if I'm Tickal, I think I'm more interested in trying to stabilize this game first. Oh, his leftovers are Den Protector. His leftovers Den Protector too.
That's pretty good.
It's a great looking turn here.
He'll cut the Rhino. Just has to figure out how he wants to do it.
Yeah, he has to give up something here, either spells to flashback or creatures. But I think that he wants to just kill both of the threats in play.
Yeah, I'm never a big fan of leaving Grandmaster around. That can be scary. Tickal deep in the tank here about what to do.
The other thing that he can do here is he can just put the Den Protector face down if he wants to, plus the Jace on Soulfire Grandmaster and pass. If something happens inside of combat, Tickal can unmorph the Den Protector, get back his Deathmist Raptor, probably block pretty easily. He does risk giving Thompson 1 turn with Soulfire Grandmaster in play, but if Tickal is concerned that he can't really get rid of his whole graveyard, this is the other route too, where he just plays full retail. Tries to keep his graveyard intact as much as possible.
All right. How to overcome, as Thompson had a good board and now it's gone. Does have a shambling vent out there. That could rumble on over.
Well, it might be his whole turn if he attacks with that. The upshot is you get Jace off the table, or you get Tickal down to 2, and then possibly Siege Rhino as a finisher. The risk here is that if Tickal chump blocks, it may not be an acceptable use of Thompson's turn.
Well, Thompson going to reorganize the mana a bunch. There's Rhino. Tickle's going to fall to 1. Nomad Outpost, pass the turn back. Time for Matthew to draw. Jace is very quickly going up on the Rhino. This is a morph. Looks like he'll just pass the turn back. Thompson will draw. I believe Soulfire Grandmaster the draw. Can he get that last point through? That's the question.
Remember, Death Misraptor in the graveyard right now for Tickal. So on the table, Thompson does not have any good attacks. He can try to do a little bit of a bluffing action where he might force Tickal to overblock the Siege Rhino out of threat of 1 removal spell killing him because of the way the trample works and Tickal only being at 1, but I don't think that Thompson can really go for the kill this turn.
It doesn't appear he's going to do that. Just going to play a Soulfire Grandmaster, and that means Den Protector is going to unmegamorph. Death Misraptor is going to come back, as will Collected Company. So now we go back over to Tickal, who's beginning to turn things around here. Another Den Protector in hand.
If he can find a sacrifice outlet, especially an Antuka Husk, with that and the Zulport Cutthroat in play, he doesn't have to worry about getting punked out of the game nearly as much. He'll have a blocker large enough to check the Siege Rhino, really no matter what happens. He'll also have the opportunity to gain some life if Thompson, for example, finds another copy of Siege Rhino or some such.
Jace is up to 4. It's going to slow down the Rhino. And now Tickal will just pass the turn back with Collected Company at the ready. Thompson will draw. I believe it may have been Painful Truths. Did not get a great look.
Very good draw right now. Thompson's light total not a very real threat here, and very close to being able to shut the door on this game with a number of draws.
The trick here is he's got to figure out how he wants to actually pay for it.
Yeah.
And does he want to maybe give it flash back? Or excuse me, like return it with buyback, I guess we could say, with the Grandmaster.
The concern there is that it's the whole turn, and if Tickal has Collected Company, he might just overpower Thompson even if he fires back next turn. I like this play from Thompson. I think he needs to find help this turn.
Well, here's Collected Company in response from Tickal. So we'll see what Matthew's able to find in the top 6 cards here. Liliana among them. Another Zulapult Cutthroat.
Still no sacrifice outlet, but this is Tickle's starting to build up a very nice board here.
Den Protector has been found from Gerry Thompson, as has 2 copies of Murderous Cut. That's interesting.
Well, the problem is that I don't think that Thompson can really get Tickal to mess up at this point because he has to cast removal spells before damage, assuming that the Siege Rhino gets blocked, and that's going to just trigger the Cutthroat a bunch of times and leave him short on lethal. It's still fine for him to find several copies of Murderous Cut, but I don't think it really gets him very far this turn. He may simply have to cast it on Liliana to prevent that from flipping.
Well, what gets interesting here is there's a weird roundabout way for Gerry to try to win this game, depending on what Tickle's turn yields. Because he did find a Den Protector, and depending on how many cards Gerry has in his graveyard, we could see something where he Murderous Cuts his Siege Rhino.
Sure, gets it back.
Get that back with Den Protector and cast it all in one turn. He's got a lot of cards in his graveyard, too. You can see how he just fanned it out. So Tickal might feel as though, hey, I'm pretty safe right now at the life total I'm at, when that's not actually, well, he doesn't feel safe at 1, but he's basically saying, like, I feel safe from attacking taking place.
Right. The big priority here right now for Tickal is to find a Nantuko Husk.
Yes.
Once that happens, he's got a really powerful cushion to play with. He can trigger his Cutthroats at a moment's notice. The Liliana just happens. He has a large blocker in play. He can probably start attacking, quite honestly, pretty soon after the fact.
Top 6. Jace is in there. It does not look like a Husk, though. Looks like Sidithi's Faithful might be in there. And that will flip Liliana and do a bunch of different stuff. So we'll see exactly what Tickal wants to do here.
Yeah, I think that Thompson was hoping to do something along the lines of what you described. The problem now is this collected company is going to yield some Cutthroat triggers no matter how Thompson tries to navigate this, and that's going to keep him off of lethal.
And now it might be time for Liliana to go away.
Yeah, good chance Thompson just needs to respond here and get Liliana off the table.
There's a cut. Now Jerry's just got to figure out what the target's going to be. And this is very complicated, I think.
Yeah.
Again, remember, this is with the exploit on the stack from Sidithi's Faithful, which causes a real chain of events to happen if Gerry just lets it go.
Yes.
And I think if you're Gerry, you have to take care of Liliana, but he's going to go with the Cutthroat. And now Liliana flipping is on the stack.
Yeah, if this is his plan, it's better to kill the Cutthroat first, because that's just one less trigger.
This is going to be a Murderous Cut with buyback. So, bye-bye Liliana. Trigger that Cutthroat. Gain a little bit more life. Now the Faithful comes in. And now the question is, does Tickal even want to bounce anything?
I mean, it's fine for him to bounce the Soulfire Grandmaster. That's at least safe to do. He might be better served just having an 0-4 in play than either of these creatures unsummoned.
And that's the big question, right?
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, he will gain a life if he does exploit here. There's still a Cutthroat out there. All right. Away goes the Soulfire Grandmaster. Tickal will gain a life, going to go up to 5 now. Thompson fall down to 13. And we're untapping. And now Thompson is drawing.
You really see how much of an uphill climb it is for Thompson to slog through this type of deck when he doesn't have one of his hate cards ready.
Yeah, it's not easy. There's Smoldering Marsh. Got to remember, Thompson does have a Den Protector in hand, but Tickal's done such a nice job of getting from 1 to 5. It's changed the dynamic of this game quite a bit.
And if Tickal finds Rally, it's likely to be lethal.
Soulfire Grandmaster. There's Murderous Cut, Trigger. Pass the turn back. I like that play there from Thompson. Get that Jace off the battlefield, because the Jace that's out there right now doesn't really do very much.
Yeah, and he can't allow Tickal to flash back another copy of Collected Company.
Yep. So Tickal just gets a draw step now. Deafness Raptor and Den Protector are the hands. Tickal at 6, Thompson at 11. Thompson doing a lot of work here with Murderous Cut and Soulfire Grandmaster. Tickal looks like he's going to play a morph. It'll be Den Protector face down. Not enough mana to unmorph and cast Collector Company, though.
Correct.
One short. Tickal will sacrifice the Delta, go down to 5. Basic Swamp. It's funny, we're so late into this game that you would think that he can just search for whatever land, but I think he's still got some color sensitivity right now.
And on top of that, he's actually color mana bottleneck too. He did not have enough green mana in play to cast Death Mist Raptor and have the ability to unmorph Den Protector in the same turn. So he had 8 mana. I think ideally he would have done something along those lines, but
he's going to rebuy Fleshbag Marauder. This, of course, will gain him a life. And now Siege Rhino down. So Gerry feeling very strongly about Soulfire Grandmaster here and what it can do for him in this game.
Well, I think it's his best chance to just burn Tickal out. I don't think he can win through combat anymore. And now Tickal actually can go on the offensive.
And that's exactly what he's doing. So now here comes Soulfire Grandmaster here comes Den Protector for 3. Thompson will draw a card. This 4-color rally deck's pretty resilient. There's the Plains from Thompson.
I mean, Thompson has not been short on removal or pressure or ways to generate card advantage. He's had all the pieces of the puzzle so far this game.
It is worth noting here, and it might feel like a minor thing. Don't believe Tickal used the Jace last turn.
No.
Yeah. With all the different things he could do, looks like he may have missed that one. He'll draw. Flooded Strand, not very helpful. Death Mist Raptor in the grip. 10-3 now. You see the clock, run underneath 13. I think it might be a morph Death Mist Raptor, and it is. Jace is up to 2. Gonna slow down the Den Protector.
And now probably just hang back. Thompson desperate for a spell, and Tickal just waiting for a rally or another Collecting Company.
This is where maybe Siege Rhino attacking works itself into the equation too.
Maybe.
With the Murderous Cut.
He could. There's a chance that works because the Rhino now is 4 power. And if Tickal blocks with exactly 1 creature and Thompson's able to use a removal spell, that's going to be game.
Gerry's draw for the turn was a copy of Fiery Impulse. So that's another removal spell. Tickle's just going to untap, Flooded Strand in hand. He'll draw a card. Rally the Ancestors. And I would be shocked if that's not good enough here.
With all the Fleshbag Marauders that are down there, the Cutthroat triggering, it's going to be a Sidisi's Faith. There's a lot of good action down there.
Yep. And looks like he's going to go for it here. 5 mana here for Matthew. Looks like it's going to be a rally for 3. And that's exactly what it's going to be. Thompson going to take a look at the graveyard. A lot of goodies. Fleshbag, Liliana, Sidisi's Faithful. Another Cutthroat. The only thing I think that's missing there is a sacrifice outlet.
Yeah, there's no Husk.
No, there's no Husk. That's the only thing. So Tickal going to be able to get back a whole boatload of cards. So we're going to get quite a few triggers, just so that you know.
I don't know all the permutations of everything that can possibly happen here, but I think there's a reasonable chance that Thompson does not get out of this turn.
I would be rather surprised if he did.
There's so many cutthroat triggers. So many of his creatures are going to die. Tickal hasn't even moved to combat. He's got plenty of power in play.
You got Fleshbag, Liliana, Exploit from Sidisi's Faithful, Jace, Grim Horror Specs, which will draw cards. It's all this stuff.
And he's going to draw so many cards off the Horror Specs. If he finds a Husk, and he's still got the 2 Cutthroats in play, just on triggers alone, that could be lethal.
Now, there are triggers on the stack here. And so Thompson does get the opportunity to interact. And that's why you see him continuing to play on. Because he believes it's not just over just yet. Trying to see if there's a way that he can work his way out of this situation with the Fiery Impulse and the Murderous Cut in hand. That's a Fiery Impulse. Now keep in mind that Fiery Impulse does have lifelink.
Yeah. So now that causes Liliana to trigger.
And that appears to still be on the stack. Yep, just making sure everything was done correctly here. So now here's another Fire Impulse. Gonna go after Den Protector. That'll gain Thompson some life. There will be at least 1 Cutthroat trigger. And now we're gonna see Murderous Cut. And that's gonna take care of something. I believe Liliana.
Yeah.
Now keep in mind, through all of this, assuming that Matthew has stacked his things right, there are Zolaport Cutthroat triggers, there are Grim Horror Specs triggers to gain life. Or excuse me, to gain life and draw cards. There's also a Fleshback Marauder trigger, and there's an Exploit trigger from Sidisi's Faithful. So, you know, just a couple of things to clean up.
Yeah. It's simple, very clean, very clear what's happening. So I think Tickle's saying, all right, trigger Exploit here, resolve the pre-existing Sidisi, HGB Horror Specs triggers.
Yeah, all this stuff that's happening here. You see both players have to talk it out because this deck, again, it can get confusing at times.
Yeah. This is a pretty jumble stack, and there's a lot of intricate triggers happening here. So both players just slowly taking their time, making sure everything is being resolved correctly.
So some cards have been drawn from Horror Specs. Now the Faithful exploited itself, so sacrificed itself to bounce the Soulfire Grandmaster. See Tickle's life total is going up a little bit here. Now there's Fleshbag Marauder. Tickle sacrificed the Fleshbag Marauder to itself. Den Protector looks like it's going to go down. More Cutthroat triggers. Horror Specs drawing cards. Another rally over there, also an Abzan Charm.
I don't know if Tickle has played a land this turn, but an Abzan Charm, I think, may just finish it off through attacks, because the Deathmist Raptor and the Den Protector are both eligible attackers.
Yeah, can he cast the Abzan Charm?
Black, nope, he can't.
Nope.
I don't know if he's got any land to fetch for here.
Yeah, the question is, has he played a land at this turn? I don't think he has.
Yeah, I think he went in the turn. I know that he had 8 mana because the previous turn I was talking about Deathmist Raptor, cast, Den Protector, and Unmorph all in one turn.
Sure.
I counted and he had 8 lands, so I'm almost positive he has not played a land this turn.
Well, here's Flooded Strand. So sacrifice that. Does he have a land left to get? The answer is yes. Prairie Stream. Kill that, and now kill you. Matthew Tickal going to win this match over Gerry Thompson. 2 games to 0. 4-color rally. Going to take care of Abzan Redden for Tickal. That means he's gotten by former Open Series champion James Wynn, and now two-time Invitational champion Gerry Thompson to make himself 5-0.
And you can see why he loves the strategy. The mid-range decks just feel like they can't hang around. They're not fast enough, not disruptive enough, and once the game goes on long enough, it's only a matter of time before Rally seals the deal, like we saw there in game number 2.
Especially, you saw Gerry really try to overcompensate for the matchup with 3 copies of Hallowed Moonlight.
Yep.
Drew one, played it twice in that game, and still kind of lost to what the deck can do, which is use its graveyard profitably.
And part of the value of Death